geocentric model. Geocentrism is that the Earth is stationary and that the heavenly bodies are revolving around the Earth. Now, nowadays, if you even suggest something like that, you'll be crucified, basically. Not only that, there's a growing movement nowadays, and this is not just amongst Christians, this is in the scientific community, that the Earth is actually a plane. It's a flat plane. It's not globular, and it's stationary. It's a very popular movement now, And there are some who, there was a Saudi Arabian scholar who said the Earth is definitely flat, and they asked him, why is that? No, he said the Earth is not moving. He said it was flat, and he said it's also not moving. And he said, well, how do you know that? He said, well, according to their model, the Earth is round and it's spinning, right? If you're flying from west to east, and it takes you 4 hours to get there, on the way back, since the Earth is coming at you at 1,000 miles an hour, you should get there in half the time, in a third of the time. Right? There's no evidence of the Earth's curvature. Right? It's very popular. For example, people will, how you look out to the horizon, go to a beach or something, and you look out and you'll see the ocean. It'll rise up to your eye level, and then it just stops in their sky. Now, nowadays there are people who buy these Nikon P900 camera, which is a very powerful zoom lens, and you'll notice the ship go, and then it'll zoom in, and the entire ship is brought back. Right? Or you can calculate, according to the scientific community, what the curvature of the Earth has to be per square mile. 8 inches per mile squared. So, there was a man who took a picture of the Chicago skyline from the other end of Lake Michigan, 60 miles away. According to the scientific community, you shouldn't be able to see any of the skyline from 60 miles away across the ocean. Maybe the top of the Sears Tower, maybe, because the entire city should be behind 2,200 feet of curvature. You should have curved away from you long ago. He snapped a picture in clear weather. The entire Chicago skyline is visible, the ground up. There's many people that have different examples of this, that they cannot detect the curvature of the Earth. Right? So they have a different model that they use.
How about the photograph that you see from space?
Yeah, so people don't like these photographs. Every photograph we get is from NASA. And NASA admits they're all composite images. This is something they admit. That basically they're different photographs stitched together. Everything that we see is either a composite image or CGI or a cartoon. Right? Certainly, and then the other thing is, like, NASA will release a picture of the Earth every so often that looks completely different. I think one of them in the United States is enormous, another one is really small. You'll see, they have this sort of animation that they say is real, of the Earth spinning, but the clouds don't move over like a 10-hour period. I say, it's animated. It's not an actual picture. So there's a lot of distrust of NASA, apparently, amongst this movement, that you haven't really seen the curvature with your own eyes. So their argument is that your senses and experience suggest that the Earth is motionless. That's what your senses suggest to you. And when you go out to the beach and you see the flat horizon, right? You can see twice as far this way and that way as you can this way. Twice as far, but it's always flat. You don't see curvature. And then they say independent researchers have sent up weather balloons, 121,000 feet, 3 times the height, 3 times the altitude of a 747. And the horizon is completely flat. There's no evidence of curvature, according to the evidence that independent researchers have compiled. And then some of the proponents of this movement, most of them are Christian, but again, not all of them. They'll say that this is what the Bible is saying and what the Quran is saying. Actually, quote verses from the Quran. الَّذِي جَعَلَ لَكُمُ الْأَرْضَ فِرَاشًا. Right? The one who made for you the earth as a carpet. Or bisaqan, bust. Bust means something that is wide and expansive. Flat, wide. Right? So, again, what's also interesting is that the moon is a very interesting thing. The moon is so, and that you can actually do this if you want to. What we're being told is that the light coming from the moon is reflected sunlight, right? That's what it is, right? Now, if you're in direct sunlight or in the shade, which one do you think has a higher temperature? Which one? Direct sunlight, right? Yeah, direct sunlight. You're standing in the sun. Now let's say there's a full moon. Where do you think the temperature is higher? In direct moonlight or in the shade? In the shade, it's the opposite. So if the sunlight is bouncing off the moon, it's colder than the moon shade. Is it the same light? So there's another theory, and this is something that goes back hundreds and hundreds of years. Again, the geocentric model over history was a dominant opinion. It's just since the time of Copernicus and Galileo. I mean, these guys are, anyway. Kepler, Isaac Newton, right? So it doesn't seem like it seems like the moon is emitting its own light. And there are times when you ever see the full moon during the day, you can see right through the moon. The craters in the moon are blue because the sky behind is blue. There are people who photograph stars through the moon. You can see a star through the moon. This is a document. People take out their independent researchers nowadays. They take out their Nikon D900. They can zoom in on the moon and see stars through the moon. So the moon seems to be sort of semi-translucent. It's transparent. It's a light. The Quran calls it nur. It's a light, and the sun is a siraj in the Quran. A nur, like think of a night light and a lamp. A night light has its own light, but it doesn't light up the entire room. But a lamp, you turn it on, everything's lit. Right? So it's very strange. What's happening here?
Wait, I have a quick question.
Yeah.
The whole, the world is round or whatever.
Yeah.
With all this stuff you're giving, why do we ever believe it was round in the first place?
Why do we believe it's round?
Yeah, where's the proof that it is round?
That's a good question.
I'm just
Some would say there's no proof. All they have are these pictures which are doctored. Which is interesting.
But all the astronauts who have gone up to space station and all that, they say it's round.
Oh yeah, that's what they say. We haven't seen a picture of. They have these images of astronauts working on the space station with the Earth in the background. But you look at the Earth, there's no satellites, which is supposed to be 20,000 satellites. You don't see a single one. You don't see any planes anywhere. And every so often, in one of their videos, you'll see bubbles come up, which means they're in a pool in front of a green screen. And you can find these videos, So, convects itself. So if the Earth is round, water is bending itself. Can I do that? Can I conduct that experiment? I can certainly pour water into a container, and the water will take the shape of the container, but I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about pouring water out and then making it into a convex sculpture without it, because water always finds a level.
It's the gravity which is keeping.
That's the whole answer. It's a big catch-all. It's gravity. It's gravity. So how is that? Don't worry about it. It's gravity. So people are in Australia walking around upside down. And trillions of tons of water are sticking to the earth upside down because of gravity. But a bird flying over the ocean. So gravity is so strong that it holds all this water, but just weak enough for a bird to fly over the ocean. Or a fish to swim through that water. Right? So it's very strange. Fickle thing gravity is. It's very fickle. Right? If I sit on the earth and I have a big magnet in my hand and some paper clips on the earth, certainly the magnetic force of the earth is more than this magnet in my hand, but everything will fly up to my hand. Why doesn't it stick to the earth? It's a bigger magnet. So that's sort of the catch-all. It's all gravity. And Sir Isaac Newton, right? A knighted Freemason occultist. Sitting around, an apple falls on him. Oh, there's gravity. What an epiphany. No, it's called relative density. So this phone will drop because the molecules are denser than the air. But if I'm holding a helium balloon, it'll rise. Defying gravity. No, it's just helium is not as dense as the oxygen. Right? That's Occam's razor. That's the easy answer. Not the sort of mysterious gravity. That's convexing water. So initially this sounds like a totally ridiculous notion, right? But those who make this argument again are saying that there's scientific backing for it, and that the vast majority of the opinions of human beings throughout history is that the Earth is geocentric. So if you look at Polaris, the North Star, it's always fixed, right? And all the other stars are going around it. So all of our constellations have been there for thousands of years. Same stars. In a perfect circle around us. So if we're moving in 1,000 miles an hour, we're also going 67,000 miles an hour, and then that is going 500,000 miles an hour into infinite space, how is this so perfect? Shouldn't it be chaos above us? Right? It seems like everything is going around us. That's the point we're making. Everything. Sun and the moon, all of the stars. It seems to be a geocentric model. And if this is true, then immediately people say, there's something special about us. Someone designed this. Because modern scientific opinions is that we're just some backwater planet on some solar system in some corner of a Milky Way galaxy, and just an accident that exploded, and we're from monkeys anyway, so we're not important, so there's no God. So the whole thing about gravity again is if you can replicate that, give me a big mass where you can stick water to the bottom of something. Otherwise, it's faith. You believe in gravity. I believe in God.
It was for sun for many, many years. It was not known that sun moves, right? And in Quran, Allah says sun moves.
Yeah, but does it? I don't know. وهو الذي خلق الليل والنهار والشمس والقمر كل في فلك يسبحون. Yeah. كل في فلك يسبحون. The sun and the moon are moving. All of them are in an orbit. فلك يسبحون. Also, nothing about the moon is you never see the dark side of the moon. You never see the back side of the moon. So if it's orbiting, why don't we ever see the back side? All it does is go like this. It just rotates like that. It never turns around. There's no backside. It's a light. It's translucent. You can't land on something like that.
But then you don't believe they landed on the moon.
Yeah. I mean, how do you get through the Van Allen radiation belts? Even right now, if you talk to modern scientists, they say, what's the biggest challenge with space travel? So we can't even get a low Earth orbit. We're 200 miles from the Earth, and then there's massive radiation belts. You have to figure that out. This is 50 years after 6 moon landings. They can't go 200 miles off the Earth. But 50 years ago, they went 500,000 miles round trip, 6 times. $19 billion they fleeced from the American public. $19 billion.
Actually, Japanese and Indian spacecraft are going around the moon right now, according to what you hear.
Yeah, and these are private government-owned organizations. 550 astronauts have been in space. 94% or something Freemasons. It's a secret society. It's a fact. Buzz Aldrin, Neil Armstrong, Michael Collins, the first men on the moon. 33-degree Masons. This is a fact. And a secret society keeps secrets. Neil deGrasse Tyson. You heard of this guy? Also a Mason. He's sort of the go-to guy of the modern scientific world. They asked him about the shape of the Earth. Because you can see Polaris from the southern hemisphere. You can see the North Star from the southern hemisphere. So if the world is a globe, you can't see it. You're on the bottom of the equator. How do you see Polaris? So he said, you know what? The Earth, because it's spinning, it's like pizza dough. This is what he's actually saying. This is their guy. This is NASA's guy. Because it's spinning, it's like pizza dough, and eventually it flattens out. Right? And then, it's actually pear-shaped. So the bottom is actually fatter. So this is the Earth like that. So if you're below the equator, you can see Polaris. So according to the opinion of Neil deGrasse Tyson, who's their scientist, eventually the Earth will be totally flat. Eventually. It's like pizza dough, apparently. This is what he's saying. Very interesting. So there's definitely a lot of interest in this. There's a lot of people that are. So that's the main issue is curvature. So if you're living on a spherical Earth, let's say this is the Earth, right? This is a helicopter. And you start to rise. As you go up, the horizon will stay low, right? Because it's going away from you. It's falling off the horizon, right? As you're going straight up, the horizon does not rise with you. It stays, and you have to keep looking down at it. So if you're at 38,000 feet, you have to look down at the horizon, right? But if the Earth is a plane, a flat plane, and you get inside of an airplane, that's why they call it an airplane, because it flies over a plane. You sit in an airplane, and you're in the middle row. You just turn your head like this, and there's the horizon. It's right there at your eyes, both sides, as if you're down on the Earth. If you get into a weather balloon and go to 121,000 feet, it's right in front of you, the horizon. So for many, this is the definitive proof that it's a flat plane. This is the proof that they use. Many experiments are done. We never heard of some of these people because they're not, Samuel Rowbotham, right? We know Kepler and Galileo. We haven't heard of these other guys who conducted an experiment in a river 6 miles long. So something 6 miles long, there's 16 feet of curvature. So something 6 miles away in a standing body of water, it's 6 miles away and it's 16 feet high, you cannot see it. According to the globular model. It would have curved away from you. But he looked at it completely through his telescope. The whole thing was there. Many experiments like this. We have to be about our business, right? But the thing is, for a lot of people, if geocentrism is correct, and we are unique, and everything's going around us, and suddenly God becomes very important. Who did this? Who put us on this pedestal? Why did he do it? How do we thank him for it? Oh, we're just monkeys, right? We're monkeys on some backwards. NASA just said, we found 7 new planets. They're just like Earth. Sure they did. I don't think so. This is what's happening right now in the world.